Now, Channel 3 early warning weather with meteorologist Mike Cameron.
Well, finally the wind is dying down, but that means it's going to get colder. Here's our iCam over Windsor Locks and Hartford showing that it's dry. Otherwise, it's a nice night, but it's going to be a cold one. Visibility is fantastic, though, because we have that dry Arctic air in place. But there's still a breeze that's bringing those wind chills into the teens and 20s. And tonight, as that wind continues to relax, I think we'll have almost a calm wind in a lot of locations. And where we have that, with the clear skies in some areas, especially northwestern Connecticut and a few places in northeastern Connecticut, we could see those lows going into the single digits. So I think Hartford, New Haven, New London, Middletown, Waterbury, Willimantic, probably teens will be it for overnight lows. And then tomorrow we'll have a partly to mostly sunny sky and temperatures that will once again go into the 30s, but probably into the mid-30s in most locations, if not a few upper 30s tomorrow as high pressure remains in control. You can see all the clear skies we have. There are some snow showers through upstate New York. I wouldn't worry about those. They're off the lakes. But we are kind of keeping our eyes on energy through the midsection of the country. There's some moisture coming up from the piney woods of Texas, and we're going to have to watch that system, although I think that one's a miss. The one that follows it is not. So we do have some winter weather in the forecast. But going through time as we head through tomorrow, here's our Futurecast tomorrow's weather today. 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. It is cold for sure on your way to services, or if you're going to run some early morning errands tomorrow, no problems. But as we go through time here, here's about 9 o'clock noon. It stays mainly sunny, so we're expecting a nice finish to the day. But the only thing is the day is wrapping up in the late afternoon. Clouds are going to start to filter in, those thin cirrus clouds. So it's not going to be perfectly sunny by the end of the day, but still a pretty nice day. Then going past midnight is when we're watching closely a system to our south. And you saw just some suggestion at a few flurries. So we're not expecting anything major from this, at least right now. But not too far to the south, there will be a system that'll be gliding offshore. So we'll just say some flurries, maybe a light dusting on the ground early Monday morning. But at the same time, as we look towards Monday afternoon, there's another system very quickly forming, and it's this one that we'll be watching for Tuesday and into Wednesday morning. So let's take a look at least what one of the models is saying. They all are saying in terms of timing and the general succession of events, they're all fairly the same. The only real question, I think, in this forecast is how long does the cold air stay in deep enough to keep it snow, and then when does it start to sleet? Because if it starts to sleet early on this thing, we have very reduced accumulations. If it snows for a while, we could be talking about some towns, not all, but some towns seeing 6 inches of snow or maybe even a little bit more. So here's one of the Futurecast models. This is the GFS, but a lot of them are saying the same thing that you see here. First, it starts to snow or sleet, one or the other, and then you see a transition to freezing rain and maybe even plain rain for a while, though I think this model and all of them kind of tend to underdo the density and just the difficulty of getting rid of the cold air near the surface. And then you see the storm system lifting away. We might end it with a few flurries, especially during the afternoon on Wednesday, but those shouldn't accumulate too much. So some of the models are saying, yes, we're going to see a pretty good batch of snow first, then a change to sleet. So the GFS is one of those models, and you can see there is some suggestion that there could be several locations at 6 inches of snow. Here is the European. This one, too, although it's a little bit lesser, is saying there could be several areas with 6 inches of snow. But not all models are doing that. In fact, the NAM, which is more of a medium range model, this one has said that almost at the start it's going to be sleet, that there'll be this shallow layer of warm air aloft that will melt the snowflakes, but then they'll refreeze as they get closer to the ground. So you can see the evidence of that is a far reduced amount of accumulation. So there's a little bit of uncertainty with this forecast still. It's still early to make a snow prediction, of course, and it is going to depend mainly on that snow versus sleet ratio, as we've been saying. So just keep in mind that we are going to have an impacted time frame, especially during the mid-morning and through the afternoon on Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon's commute will be most impacted as we will have wintry precipitation of some sort, essentially statewide.